Welcome to GNCC's Espresso Live from the Corner Office, where we bring you conversations with top leaders and executives who are shaping our community. Today, we are thrilled to have a distinguished guest joining us, Emilia Amaro, Executive Director with Leadership Niagara, an organization that equips established leaders, strengthens collaboration, and inspires service. We will share stories, lessons, and ways you can get involved to help shape Niagara's next chapter. Emilia herself is the Executive Director of Leadership Niagara, where she leads the Program Advisory Committee, the region's longest-running community leadership development program. In this role, she cultivates collaborative partnerships, engages a growing network of alumni, and champions initiatives that prepare leaders to create meaningful impact across Niagara. In addition to her work with Leadership Niagara, Emilia serves as the Executive Director of the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce, where she advocates for and connects the local business community. She's also the founder of Launch It Co., a creative web design and hosting agency that has supported entrepreneurs and organizations for over 20 years. And across all her roles, Emilia is known for her ability to bring people together, foster innovative solutions, and build stronger communities through leadership, entrepreneurship, and collaboration. Emilia, we are so pleased to have you with us. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
This format today, as always with our espressos and all of our podcasts that we do, is meant to be a really interactive one. So we have received many questions that you have shared with us, and please know that we are committed to getting to all of them. If you have any questions that come up during this dialogue, please utilize the chat function and we will look at them and we will most definitely get to all of them. Please know that this session is recorded. And lastly, if you would like to enable live transcript, you can find that option on your Zoom screen. If at any time you run into any technical difficulties, please utilize the chat function. We see your comments and one of my colleagues will be able to assist you immediately. So on that note, about today, when we looked and reviewed the questions that you had shared with us, we felt that they would actually fit into about 5 kind of specific buckets. The first one is many of you asked questions about Leadership Niagara because with all organizations, they evolve and they grow, and people wanted to get a sense of what is and Leadership Niagara today. The second one was what kind of program experience can one expect if one wants to get involved with actually Leadership Niagara? And then the impact that participants and have made in the community. Some of you have asked specific questions about that, kind of again getting a better sense of the program. Access and opportunities that might have actually developed out of it, and then also looking ahead and saying like what is in store for Leadership Niagara as we're looking down the road in a year, in 3 years from now. And these are really where most of your questions fit somehow into those categories. But please feel free if you have any questions that most definitely don't fit into those particular buckets, we are here to address them all. And on that note, it is my great privilege to actually now move over to that Q&A kind of concept of the podcast. So, Emilia, the first area of it that many people had looked at and we thought kind of makes sense to start out with was everything about Leadership Niagara. So for those who might have joined us today or later on watch us on YouTube, for those not familiar with the organization, what is Leadership Niagara and what makes it unique in our region?
Great starter question. I'm so happy to be here, first of all. So thank you for that wonderful intro. It's kind of surreal when you hear people talking about yourself. So thank you. So Leadership Niagara is a nonprofit organization that has been around in the Niagara region since 2007. And it was originally created to identify, nurture, and grow future leaders in all sectors in the Niagara region. So really amazing right then and there. And I think what really makes it unique is the fact that we're blending like research-based leadership learning and experiential like the experience of it. And I think the inclusion of all the diverse sectors nonprofit, governance and business. Like you don't really get all of those areas in one educational institution or in one employer. Except I think if we're working at a chamber of commerce, you kind of get all of those sectors. But I think with Leadership Niagara, you have access to all of these, as well as the network and the community that you are building through the relationships for the students that are doing the program. I think it's invaluable, of what can happen throughout every cohort.
Yeah, and I think this is really actually interesting, because from every person who has actually gone through Leadership Naga and that I have spoken to, they have always greatly valued that it actually is a representation of many sectors and has an impact and can be relevant to anyone who's coming from any kind of industry. It can be from agriculture, it can be from manufacturing, it can be from the nonprofit sector, it can be from the public sector. All of them have found value in that program. And I think that makes Leadership Naga so unique in our area. The program has evolved, as all programs evolve. All industries, all organizations do since it began. What milestones are you most proud of when you have looked at it and you look back on it? You're new in this role, but you familiarized yourself with the history of it. You have a strong board who likely are also creating that legacy and that understanding of the history. What milestones are you most proud of?
I think the community projects stand out the most. The fact that these are actual nonprofits working on these community projects, the students are getting the hands-on experience, meeting people within these nonprofit organizations. And as we all know, when you're in the nonprofit world, budgets are extremely important. Budgets are important no matter what, but with a nonprofit, it can make or break your year. And to be able to work and create impact with the nonprofits, it's, I think, one of the things that I see as the most valuable. I'm hearing it from the students, the alumni that I've been able to speak with. Everyone has something to say about the community project they worked on. Some of the students are encouraged to bring a community project if they, in their own world, know one that would be really effective. And with over 430 graduates thus far, I think that always always up leveling and asking what they would like to see changed, what they found the most valuable, what we can shift. I think that, again, that is what really creates the innovation for Leadership Niagara, because we're always asking what could we do better and how can we continuously evolve. And I think that that is really so unique and maybe not something that is as actionable when you're talking about educational institutions. Like, obviously, everyone evolves and changes, but we have that power to make sure that we are always evolving every single year. And I think that that's pretty fantastic.
I think it is amazing, actually, and congratulations having actually 430 graduates in Niagara. When you look at that pool of individuals and thinking what impact they could have in Niagara and what change they can create, having just that strong of an alumni. So congratulations, really, really, that is an amazing milestone in itself. We held recently, I think it was last week, one of our councils, which is called the Next Niagara Council, which is young and emerging leaders that are like 35, 40 and younger. We had actually a conference with them and we called it the Engage Conference. And it was, we got about 150 people, 200 people together. And all of it was around how to get involved in the community. And initially, when we set the theme for it, we thought maybe there's not that much interest in it. We weren't 100% sure. And it was record attendance and people saying like they wanted to give back to the community, they wanted to get engaged, and they looked at ways of actually, and we looked at both ways. How can organizations open up and having emerging leaders get more involved? How can they get involved in boards, in council and advisory ones? How can they volunteer? And where can they make a difference? So it was, we spent an afternoon together and we utilized the format of a hackathon and we have a report that comes out. But it's so much when I listen to you and looking at the community impact, and then I'm thinking of what Leadership Niagara's strength is, and then looking at these emerging leaders that are so eager to move forward too, but maybe don't know 100% where to go and what is the right place. So a program like yours is key to Niagara and is of great interest to people living in Niagara. Why is developing leadership locally so important for Niagara's future? Because there's many opportunities people have to develop their leadership. We can do it in many ways online. We can do it worldwide. We can look at it in so many different ways. But why is it important for Niagara's future?
That's a really good question, and I think it really aligns well with what you just shared about the next Niagara um, meeting that you just had. I think that when you create change within people within a region, and people are just proud to have that connection with where they live, not necessarily where they grow up, but we want that connection to community, and you want to create change where you live and where you work, and you see the vision of what it could be, and you really recognize as a leader like your own ideas and how they can impact different industries, different sectors, and being able to understand and even have access to the tools in order to do that, and then meet the right people to actually create that change, I think is what makes it, again, just so invaluable and important. We create a sustainable environment. I'd mentioned earlier, I say this a lot of just like how big the Niagara region is and how small it is. And I think that when you're creating those connections and continuing to foster them, that's how you can make change, right? It's really about a leader is about crafting that team together. What can we do? And when you have programs like Leadership Niagara's that are really about um, developing those skills, I'm like, we can do whatever we need to do for the Niagara region and to create change and continue on the change that's being made and create that impact.
Yeah, I fully agree. I even look back at my own history of having gotten involved in organizations, volunteering, and others. And early on in my career, I didn't look as much at the local level. And I think often even now, we look at global issues. We look at broader issues. When we talk about news, we often look at different levels of government. And it takes us a while until we really, I think, as like look at it and saying, what change can I make in my neighborhood, in my community, and in my involvement in it, in the place that I call home and that is relevant to me, my family, my loved ones, and others, and causes that might be close to my heart. And I think that is really a strength of Leadership Naga when it has that ability to connect people to that, because it is needed, because we see it on so many other areas too. People, when I look, for example, at elections, often the turnout of municipal elections is a little bit less than what we see at the provincial or the federal level. And I think it's sometimes because people can't relate to the issues as much or don't see them as being relevant. But I think that is the strength of Leadership Naga, to saying, here are the things that are really relevant to you in your community and where you can make a difference. So I think it's great. Thank you for giving us a bit of that background about Leadership Niagara, and where it has been and how to move forward from here. Now, there have been a couple of questions around people who have never taken part in it, don't know anyone else who has been part of the program, and they're looking at the program experience itself. And I can see this as being actually quite a valuable knowledge that people want to gain before they commit to it, because we kind of want to be in an environment where we can see ourselves, and it's likely the best learning environment for us as well. So what can participants expect during the program? What does a typical session look like? How many sessions would there be? Can you give us a little bit of an understanding for our participants who would like to just have that sense?
Yes. So the Community Leadership Development Program, that's like what it official title. We call it CLDP. You can expect to spend one Friday per month between the months of like November and June. I don't think there's one in February actually, but it's one full business day. Your employer kindly gives you this day to go to somewhere in the Niagara region. We have various venues. You're there between 9 and 4:30. You're fed and you are ready to go with, we have speakers that teach on various topics. So every learning day, what we call them, has a different topic. So we're kicking off things with leadership principles for collaborations, exploring leadership in today's changing world, governance in nonprofits, influencing community systems. My personal favorite, I can't wait for emotional, effective leadership and diversity, equity, and inclusion. So every learning day has one of those topics. We're listening to a speaker who educates on that. We're working on our community projects throughout the year during the learning days and a little outside. So participants can expect to, in addition to that one day a month, um, less than 5 hours of extracurricular time to devote to working on their community project within the group that they're working with. And yeah, I think that pretty much sums up the logistics of it. Through those learning days, you're really getting the experience of the sponsors who meet them one-on-one, the speakers meeting them one-on-one. You're getting to know me, the rest of the program advisory committee, the board. This is all integral part of that experience,
Yeah.
meeting the people in the community of just getting for them to get to know you and like what is your passion. It's really again invaluable to understanding how to make Leadership Niagara's program work for you.
Yeah. And I'm going to give a little shout out here to you because I think for all the people who are listening in, who are attending this webinar or have tuned into it afterwards, even for your chance to get a chance to meet Emilia and who's so well connected in the community, that in itself, I think, would be a good enough reason to join Leadership Niagara because it will connections lead to other opportunities. And opportunities could be about self-development and growth in ways that we want to go, but it can also lead to many others. So here's my shout out to you. So just to
Thank you.
meet you and to open that channel of connections, I think is a great reason to join Leadership Niagara. There are, I think it's probably since about for the last 5 years, we have heard from so many people the challenge of balancing our life, balancing our professional development with personal growth. And there is often a sense, how much time do I allocate to what? How do you balance it best? And there was one question to saying, how do I balance professional development with personal growth? And sometimes people put them in quite separate buckets, but something that maybe you can speak to. And from what I know about Leadership Naga, that I think much of it is in the program that is designed for both of it. But if you could maybe expand on that.
I'd love to. And you've hit the nail on the head. You're right. The curriculum is built for both professional and personal. I actually personally love the the attention paid to the personal growth because I think that it all fosters. If you don't have that personal growth, you can't be as effective as a leader and you won't retain the professional development as much. So we split it up. The learning days are both hard and soft leadership competencies. So we've got governance, community systems, and strategy, which is more alongside the professional development. And then alongside that, we've got emotional intelligence, mindfulness, mindset, self-awareness, so key and personal. And like these things, they change your life. It's not only about your career and what job you have and who are you meeting and how important the person is that you're meeting and how important you are or you want to be. If you don't have that self-awareness, that mindfulness, it it won't matter. And I just love that we intertwine both. And I think it's really it gives so much access to when we're already diving into the community projects. You're going to need both of that. especially with the community projects and working on these nonprofit organizations that have their own impact in their own industries and communities, being able to dive right in and really see the effects immediately is just something that I just don't see from other programs.
Yeah. No, I think it's an extremely valuable point that you're making there. And I think you're right. I think it's the professional and the personal growth. And when they come together, this is really when we step up. I don't think they can happen in isolation. Our life is not in those kind of buckets, like they belong together. And one of the nice things about your program too is that you are going to be, participants will be surrounded by a group of people who also will see skills in you that you might not see and that they are bringing forward, they're highlighting that you might just take for granted, that saying like, oh, this is just me, like, and I don't give much credit to it, but they see it, and I think that helps us. That perspective helps us as well. Can you share some examples of the skills and tools participants will walk away with?
Yes. So, part of the leadership framework is understanding and applying the 5 practices of exemplary leadership by Kouzes and Posner. So, this is an integral part of the entire framework of the competency, and as well as Tetra maps. We do it's an assessment that is done towards the beginning of the program, and again, it really allows everyone's unique personality and the way that they show up in the world to really see how they best fit to working together in a group, their own personally, in their personal lives, in their professional lives, and learning how to develop those skills and collaborations, influencing the community systems, governance, and even diving a little bit more into like municipal level, like you had mentioned, of not really understanding the power that our own voice has, whether you're a resident or a business owner in your community, and how to get access to your local leaders and municipal leaders. And I don't want to say how easy it is, but at the end of the day, we're all just people. And it's about how to communicate with all these different people in various sectors. And I think that with those tools and practicing of those tools, you're given that opportunity to create additional confidence so that you don't feel so apprehensive maybe to ask for what you need, for what you want, and then creating that change and impact that you're looking to do.
Yeah, absolutely right. And this is actually perfect because we're getting a question from one of our participants, Suzanne, who's asking, is Leadership Naga only for young leaders? Can those who are more established in their career participate? And I think that is likely a question that comes up often, and probably my reference to Next Naga, the emerging leaders, would have maybe even created that perception too. So Suzanne, thank you for that question. I really appreciate it. And over to you, Emilia.
Yeah, it is a great question. I think that anyone who's mid-level in their career and looking to either get into management or develop their management skills, maybe you're already in a management role and feel like a need to continue to develop, continue to learn. I personally don't think that we ever should stop learning, and there's no specific job title that we should have that says, I don't need this. And so anyone who's looking to apply this year, if you are mid-level, this is probably the best place for you. That's not to say that if you're already in management that you wouldn't find value in this, because I think that part of mindfulness, self-awareness, and all of the items on the personal side, there is no end to that. And then with our strategic planning and the professional tools and skill sets, once again, something that you had said earlier, Mishka, about like maybe something that comes naturally to you and it's so easy and you think maybe everyone knows this, you can be affecting others and their experience. And then as well, if you're open and accepting of what you can learn from others, this is actually just going to help make you a better team player, team leader, manager on your own right. And then once again, of course, the community that you're going to have access to, and whether that's other participants in the program or the people that are leading the program and running the program, there's always someone who connects with someone and um, finds value in like, what if I never did this? You know?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. There's one more question on the program itself, the topic we're on right now, and the question was if the person upon completing the overall course that you have, is there a certificate that they received? Is there any way that they can acknowledge it as being part of their own leadership development?
Yes. So the last learning day is actually called graduation day, where that is accumulation of all the community projects that the students have worked on, presentation of what's happened, what the result is, and of course, graduation, receiving certificates, and the recognition that these students deserve. It is a lot of work and you should be proud of it. Leadership Niagara is well known in the Niagara region, and it is a huge asset to have on a resume, on your LinkedIn, and just have it verbally. As I said, like with the 430 alumni, as you start sharing about, hey, I did this cohort, it's kind of interesting, even for me, to kind of do my onboarding and take a look at who has been on that alumni list. It's remarkable who's on there and who did it years ago and who did it just a few years ago. Like, we have Ashley Myers, who is the economic development officer for Niagara on the Lake, who completed this program. Marla Smith, who's at director of fundraising at Pathstone, who did it 2009. I was just talking to her this week. Like there's so many more names, and I can't wait to meet the new cohort officially. Um, it's amazing what you'll be able to do with this program.
Yeah, I actually do believe that. And I think it's a really nice alumni because I think those individuals within the community connect and they connect with all the new alumni at the same time. So it really does become a community of Leadership Niagara alumni. So, which I think is its great, great strengths. There's one more question before we're going to move over, like just looking at the impact that your program has on the community. And that was a question you had mentioned a couple of times about projects that people are working on. And so one of the questions is, how do people choose the project? Do they have to come to the program with one in mind, or are there ones that are being suggested or developed as they're going through the program?
Oh, that's an excellent question. So we, throughout the entire year, have applications for community project applications. We are actually still accepting them. So if you are hearing this, and this sounds like something that you'd really want to apply for, please do so. It is free for the nonprofits to apply for their community project. It is a bit of a time intensive for the organization because you're working on the project as well. So just keeping that in mind. We do fundraising plans or strategic plans and kind of creating something for the organization to take away and implement. The on the first learning day is when we kind of reveal all of the projects and who what the project's all about, what sort of skills that we would be looking for that the cohort maybe already has, as well as what sort of skills do you want to develop, which you can if you choose this project. So it's they definitely have to have interest in the project, and there always is. And they get formulated into smaller groups. So our cohort gets split up, and it's a group of 4 to 5, depending on how many students we have. That it's like that's their project throughout the entire year. And we have had students in the past that have their own idea of like, hey, I want to do this. Like Kristen Webb, one of last year's alumni, brought a project to the program because she definitely felt a connection to it, and it was one of the community projects. So that's really another thing too, is like the students really have a say in what can happen.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
No, I think I think it was an excellent answer offered because I think there are so many communities and nonprofits and charities that are working on projects, and to have an outside group of 3 or 4 people working alongside of you and helping you out and giving you their perspective, I think can be huge. It can be key. Overall, how big are the classes? How many people can? What's the class size that people can expect? Or the
Uh,
cohort for
yeah,
every season?
Typically, for the last few years, we had about 30
Yeah.
students seems to be the sweet spot right now. With the changes this year, with me coming on board, I obviously have a lot of ideas. And so in future, we might increase enrollment into having it be a little bit wider breadth. But for right now, we're looking at around 30 students.
Yeah, that's excellent. And I think that really does create a lot of connections too. So the next part of it was we wanted to look at, and I think it's a perfectly moving and talking about the programs that you've had, looking at the impact on participants and the impact on the community, because I think that is really the heartbeat of so much that you're doing. What kind of transformation do you see in participants from the start of the program to graduation?
I really think that let me just think about this for a little bit. I think also ugh, you get what you put in.
Yes.
In addition to, of course, greater self-awareness and greater connection to the community, which I think are key. It's not even with the curriculum. It's just like just to
Yeah.
be there. I think the confidence of completing the program, the confidence that you're going to gain from learning from others in the cohort with you, and again from the speakers and everyone that you're connecting with is just truly invaluable. And I think one of the things that might be um, pretty prominent and what I've heard from past participants that I've been able to speak to is understanding leadership, changing how they understand leadership from abstract terms to being able to apply it. So, what does that actually mean? Are you able to initiate change? If you're in a group and there's no one who's been deemed the leader, can you step up? Do you have the tools and the skills to understand what is required to 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 continue to have this change just because the person at the top or the person who was deemed the leader isn't assigned, stuff like that. And I think that it'll like change their entire being of like who they want to be in themselves, who they want to be in their careers, who they want to be in this Niagara region, and how are they going to access that? And then how are they going to connect with the right people and not being so maybe even afraid to do it, and just really having that confidence to um, be ready to collaborate and then figure out how to do it.
Yeah, I think that is key. Could you share a story of a graduate who has gone on to make a significant impact in the workplace or community? You mentioned a few of the graduates of the program that have made a difference and are holding key roles within the community. But sometimes I think we can talk about a program, but then when we hear the stories of the individuals, it just feels a little bit closer to us.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to Marla Smith. She's fresh in my mind because I was with her this week, and she was one of our first graduating class. I think she was in the second one, which is pretty remarkable because she's still talking about it now, and she's still using the tools that she learned, and applying those to people she works with as well. So aside from encouraging people to do the program herself, she has really evolved her career into various organizations within the region. And through doing that, she's brought those organizations to do community projects. So she's gotten additional impact in that way. She is really understanding all of those values and the skills that she needed and the evolution of that wherever she goes. And she is just really, she's so well revered in the community. I met her when she was in Niagara Children's Center. Now she's moved through to Pathstone. She's just launched a new interview series on Your TV, and she's a powerhouse. And I'm proud to know her. And then I'll say Ashley Myers again for like I think that. I believe she was with Bell Media when she did the program, and now just being such an integral part of Niagara on the Lakes economic development. I think she's the first person even in that role, and that's remarkable to me. You need to be someone who really knows how to um, get a job that doesn't even exist and to really take it and make it your own. And so I love seeing the impact she's been making on the community and the strides that she's been doing as well. And even like Sandra Angelini, like who her testimonial is just even on the website about just in her self-awareness and her emotional intelligence and not even understanding and realizing the impact that that could have on her life. Like thinking, just doing curriculum, I'm going to show up, I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do, but honestly, just that shift. And I even think about it in a way of like, think about your home life, think about um, how you show up for your family, your significant other, your partner, like it just to be able to say, hey, that's what this did as well. Like that's remarkable.
Yeah, I think it's remarkable. And I think the individuals that you brought forward, the graduates of the program, the three that you mentioned, are extraordinary in their commitment. And it's been extraordinary to see the changes and their evolution in their career and how they have defined it as well. So I think those are great examples. How does Leadership Niagara help strengthen Niagara's nonprofit business and civic sector overall? We mentioned a couple of the projects that people are going to be working on, that there will be projects that they will be working on, and that those usually come from the nonprofit sector overall. But how does it strengthen that?
Well, I think you're creating leaders that are engaged first and foremost. If you're not engaged, there's not much impact. And those leaders who are engaged, I think they're going to be more aware of local challenges, which is, I think, very important. And then they're capable of working across sectors. So going from government or nonprofit or just business, small, medium, large, like those are into huge shifts if you make a career shift like that. And to be able to kind of like have your hand into understanding what would be required if you were to do that is invaluable. And then I think that the community projects actually link the participants to, again, the diving right into what can happen and what could be possible for the Niagara region, even creating their own. Maybe it sparks an idea, and maybe they want to take that to their employer. And again, that's something that's not never left them. Strategic plans, awareness campaigns, marketing campaigns, like those types of things are very transferable skills, and they're often necessary within the Niagara region when you're shifting sectors. And if you have someone who is again increasing their knowledge on all of this and then taking that everywhere we go, whew, keep them here. Let's not lose people to Toronto. Like was so let's
So
keep
true,
our
actually.
talent. Yeah.
There is so you're absolutely right with everything that you captured. It's nice to know when we can make a difference in our own backyard and our own communities that we value. One question that has come in: how can I prepare myself for day one of this program?
I would, well, we prepare you like beforehand. We make sure that we ask you to do an assessment before you come. You'll get all of the preliminary information from me. And from the rest of PAC, and we're preparing the day for you. And day one is really an opportunity to be introduced to the program and start looking at leadership in what it means in today's changing world. That's the topic of day one. And we get you really excited about the program. You're obviously meeting one another and doing icebreakers. So it's probably our more fluid learning day because of that. And we really want the employers to feel really awesome about sending their employees this one Friday a month. And we have them there as well too. And just an opportunity to kind of like break that ice, get a little familiar, ask those questions. You could of course ask them before, but I would say how to prepare is get a good night's sleep, drink lots of water. I'll prepare it, and fill out your dietary requirements form that I will send out to make sure that we have your favorite foods as much as possible for throughout the day. So
Yeah. And this actually leads us perfectly into a couple of other questions that have been submitted. And we touched on it earlier already, but who should consider applying? What kind of person is the program best suited for? Is one of the questions that has come forward. And I thought maybe, I know we touched on it a little bit at the beginning of it, but I was wondering if we need to expand on it one more time.
Yes, I'd love to. So I know that we had focused more on the like the professionals and mid-career. I'd say entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
people from government. We have a lot of municipal employees that join this program and find it very effective in business as well as in the nonprofit sectors. So, and if you're in there, you feel like a call to do this or a call to for more information, this is for you. People who are like getting excited, if you're listening, that's who we want. We want engaged, excited students in this cohort, and we encourage you to apply. And then anyone who has ever shown commitment to leadership or community involvement, if they want to grow, if they're self-directed, if you're an employer and someone's name is popcorning right now, that they need to be in this program. And then anyone else who cares about Niagara and the region, and you want to understand issues locally, and you want to have access to the community of people who might be the catalyst of the next stage in your career or life in general, this
Mhm.
would be the place to apply.
Yeah, I think that's I think you captured it perfectly. This is really a program open to nearly anyone who wants to actually get engaged and wants to take the next step. Supports, sometimes what holds people back is the sense of the time commitment, but you have mentioned what the time commitment is, but also costs can be a concern. So I was wondering if you can speak to that, what supports or opportunities are available for people who maybe are feeling, I'm concerned about the time commitment. What if I can't make that one particular Friday? And secondly, how do I deal with the cost that are involved for being part of it?
Yeah, double question here, and I love it. And I think it's really important. First of all, if someone is questioning their own time commitment and is this something that they could realistically do, I can already tell you're in the leadership mindset that we need. When you have awareness around your own schedule and what your capacity is, that you're half the battle because some people don't understand that and it can actually hold them back. And if you're just honest with yourself about what you can do realistically, it actually makes it a lot easier to break it down on a weekly schedule. So we already know we have the almost every month there's just that one day. You're supposed to be there. We want you to be really present, and you're gonna get so much out of that day. Less than 5 hours is what we're the proposed expectation on the community projects. We want you to lean in to the rest of your group. We want you to lean into me. We want you to lean into our pack. Communicate. And that's also part of what being a really good leader is just being able to openly communicate when you're struggling. This is real life. This is a curriculum. However, we understand that life happens and gets in the way. We're here to support you. And so if there's ever any issues, let's talk about them and let's figure that out. I don't want that to be a fearful barrier for you. From a cost perspective, we are really proud that we have scholarships and bursaries and grants, and we're really proud of our GNCC relationships with the Win Niagara and Next Niagara.
Yeah.
Those bursaries are still open, and we're really grateful for the just the bursaries that we've been able to partner with other organizations in the Niagara region. So Niagara Community Foundation is this year providing three half scholarships to people working at nonprofits or municipal towns. So they will actually be covering half the cost, which lowers the cost program to about $1,500 for the year. And something I have introduced already is payment plans. I know that 3150 plus HST is a significant amount of money, and we do try and continue to create sponsorships and bursaries with employers in the region who believe in this work and want to provide that. And we know that we have people who just want to do it on their own because they know it is where they need to be. And so I've introduced payment plans and have been already implementing them with people. So I encourage anyone to just email me and let's talk it out and we'll figure it out. Yeah, we'll get you in there.
Yeah, and that actually is perfect because we have Lisa, who is with us, one of our participants here, and they're wondering if they can still apply as a deadline. Currently, I think on the website says September
Yeah.
22nd, but they're wondering if there is a chance that they could be part of this cohort.
Yes, Lisa, thanks for that question. You can, of course, be a part of this cohort. We are always moving things on our website, still getting used to it. But yes, I know that the program might say that September 22nd was our deadline. We have extended that deadline. There's a lot of changing factors with the fact that I had just started in August, and we just wanted to give myself the opportunity to kind of get my feet wet a little bit. We will change that date. Thank you for pointing that out. And fill out that application, and we will be in touch ASAP.
Excellent. Thank you so very much. You had mentioned earlier the sense of how important it is that one of the aspects of Leadership Naga is the sense that everyone has a sense of being belonging. And that is really encouraging diversity and inclusion in the cohort, in the group that is coming together. How does Leadership Naga encourage exactly that? It's often a challenge for organizations, but this is one of the questions, and I think it's a really valuable one.
Yeah, I do think it's a valuable one. Even in the short time that I've been with the organization, I've already seen a wide breadth of diversity in terms of backgrounds, in terms of experience, and in terms of how people show up in the meetings I've been on. I think it's something not really like I've been experiencing in other areas of Niagara. And I think that that is, again, what's really such a catalyst and what makes us different. We have the learning day specific to diversity, equity, inclusion, but I really want to reiterate that that does not mean that we only learn about that on the one day. And it's not performative. And just being on the inside right now, I can tell it's not performative, and all voices are heard at the table, and it's a very eclectic group on the board, on PAC, and I'm really engaged and excited about this upcoming year and how we're going to continue to expand on that diversity. And from a programming perspective, in addition to the learning day, the community projects themselves are just such a wide variety of what they are and what they're looking for, and even the people within those organizations. You're really going to get that experience and that background of all levels.
Yeah, I think it makes total sense, and I think it's really good to see. We said that one of the kind of buckets we wanted to look at was to saying like, what does the future hold for Leadership Naga? What is the upcoming program year? What excites you most about it? And what are things that when people look at you and the organization saying, what can they anticipate and expect in this year and in years to come?
Well, I'm really excited to being a part of the program this year. I'm excited to meet the people that I'm going to meet. You said it earlier. I love meeting people, and I love connecting people and hearing their stories and finding ways to support. I hear even like the problems that that are happening. It just happens, and I just love being able to connect them with who they need to be connected with. And I'm excited to be able to do that from a wider breadth than from my usual spot of Lincoln, and just kind of taking that wider. I'm excited about the curriculum. I'm excited about it, being a part of the curriculum and creating it and crafting how we're all showing up for our cohort, and creating it for the participants. I'm just really excited. I'm really excited already. I'm thinking of June 12th, which is graduation day, and just like, who's going to be there in those pictures, and what that's going to mean, that certificate for all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, and you see it usually on people's faces when
Yeah.
they have accomplished that. Alumni, you mentioned alumni often and regularly through this podcast. How can alumni or the broader community continue to support Leadership Naga? Because it's not just about the program. Leadership Naga is about the program, but it's about Naga. And so how can we as a community support you? How can the alumni support you?
Alumni can always be sharing about their experience and continuously sending people that they think would really benefit from the experience. So as always, word of mouth, I think, has such a power that is unlike any other. So to please share about your experiences, and share about those effects that it had in your life, and share it, you can share it on socials, but share it with the person, over coffee or lunch, and there's so many different avenues. Alumni can volunteer. You can always get involved with Leadership Niagara. It's an entire a small staff, and otherwise completely run by volunteers, as most nonprofits are. And just get involved. If you are also in a position, work with an employer where you feel a sponsorship would be really aligned, we encourage that as well. And again, just reach out and we can figure it out and figure out some way to help and support your continued impact in the community, and any way that we can do that.
Yeah. I think there's a great question that has come forward in the chat, and I think it's likely because we are so Naga focused in our conversation that we have about our community and the difference that we make, that one of the questions is when someone is based outside of Naga and they have volunteered for nonprofit organizations in Halton and in other areas, will they be able to join the program?
Yes, absolutely. I think that there's no address requirement. It's just the fact that it's mostly so if you are outside of the Niagara region but definitely have that interest and really want to be more involved in this region, 100%, I would encourage you to sign up.
Yeah, I think that is always great to see. And I feel the same way about it too. For listeners who are inspired and want to get involved, what is the best way to apply or learn more?
Head over to the website, leadershipniagara.ca, and there's like a big apply now button. You could fill out the application right then and there, and then you can take a look at the program, and it goes through all the information, the days, what to expect, and a little bit more in depth. And you can always email me if you have any additional questions as well. Which
Excellent.
is, do I
We'll
say
put the link in the chat for everyone to see too. And following this Espresso series, we always connect with our participants, and we can also provide the information in that follow-up email as well. So we will do it in both places. Now, Emilia, I want to take a moment at the end of this Espresso series here to just look at you as a leader, because we've spoken a lot about the program. And I see actually on that note that my colleague has shared the Leadership Niagara link. So anyone who's interested in it, it's leadershipniagara.ca, and the link is in the chat function too. But coming back to you now, there's questions that people have, because we say it's always from the corner office where we want to talk about the programs and the organizations people are involved in, but at the same time, when we are talking about leadership style, when we talk about individuals, we'd love to get a little bit of a sense of you as a person too. And I think it's a really good way for us to wrap up this espresso session here. So there's a couple of questions that people have asked. There's not many that we have, but we have about 6 or 7. So
Love
here
it.
we go. In one word, how would you describe your role?
Connector.
I think that's brilliant, actually. I think I thought about it when in writing this question, and I found it a really difficult one to almost like answer. But I think connector is absolutely key. And in light of our earlier conversation that we have too, is that those connections make a big difference. And it's different when we connect in person, when we connect in a room together. We all connect over social media and in other ways. But I think you as a connector couldn't have chosen a better one, actually. And that's just from my perspective. That's perfect. It's really good. What is your superpower in supporting Leadership Naga?
Ooh. Whew, that's a good one. I think my superpower is my ability to see potential in people, and to connect with them in a way. I think that um, one of my strengths that I was actually one of the things that I was most fearful of was just how authentic I show up in a conversation. And being fearful of just too much. And over the last few years, I think it's become my greatest superpower, and I'm really excited about being able to bring that to Leadership Niagara and bridging the gaps across sectors because of that authenticity.
Yeah. And you most definitely have it. And I think that actually encourages authenticity in other people. So I think it's a great superpower and a much needed one at any time and in any room that we're in. So I'm really glad that you moved the part that was fearful of it a little bit to the side and you've given it a bigger stage in your life. The biggest lesson you've learned as an executive director?
Ooh, wow. Um, it's not about being perfect. It is a very prominent, powerful title to have. I don't take it lightly.
Mhm.
And it is the opportunity to create space and allow others in the community that I'm serving to shine and to really grow. Um, and then again, I have learned that being authentic and being vulnerable and listening are strengths that I think every ED should encompass. So I think I've
Yeah,
learned that.
yeah. Yeah, and I think that those are brilliant lessons actually that you can bring forward into any conversation that you have. We call this series our Espresso series because we have quite a few people around us here and on our team that are coffee lovers. And so our question is coffee, tea, or something else? What keeps you fueled during meetings?
Depends on the time of the meeting, but
Mm.
espresso, actually, a double espresso, and water. So I
Yeah.
have, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. What makes your team unique or special, the people that you're working with? And because every organization that we look at is more than us, more than one person. It is a team of people. Sometimes it's staff, sometimes it's volunteers, sometimes it's advisory councils or boards. What makes your team unique and special?
Diversity of background, 100%. Um, Again, new in the role, and I've just been super impressed with everyone that I am surrounded with and have been introduced with. Everyone has such a strong commitment to the community and they live the values, and I love it. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. And diversity makes better decisions. We make better decisions when we have diversity around the table. What is the one quality you value most in your board members?
Ooh, this is neat because again, I've just met them, really.
Ah,
It's been 8 weeks. Some of them I knew, but like I think integrity. We've had already 3 board meetings, and I just love how everyone shows up with integrity. They show up like with their voice at the table. No one's afraid to say anything. Their willingness to challenge each other respectfully, of course, and one another and me, and support me in my like coming out of the woodwork of my ideas, and just really um, being able to kind of dive into that I'm really excited. There's some really strategic thinkers there, and yeah, it's good.
excellent. That is good. And it shows again the diversity and the support that comes out of it. And that people are not fearful of challenging ideas, but always with a common goal in mind.
Yeah.
If you could give one piece of advice to future leaders, what would it be?
Lead with empathy, 100% always. It doesn't matter who's in front of you, it's a person. Always be curious and listen before anything else. This is not one piece of advice. I'm just realizing. And I would also say, don't be afraid to apologize because, again, you're not perfect. And hold yourself accountable to the same accountability you hold others. And it's okay to mess up and just apologize and you move through. And you'd be surprised how much, how effective that is. Honest apologies also. And I'm like, sorry.
No, I really think so because it brings that human element forward and saying we all stumble, we all fall, but we also can get up and we can help others get up at the same time too. I really, really appreciate it. Emilia, normally at the end of our Espresso Live, I ask our guests if there's anything I missed, anything that you would like to say, just as a closing comment before we wrap it up.
I'm just, if anyone even sparked a little interest in all levels, reach out. I'm really eager. I am a people person. I love meeting people, and I love being able to connect. I think that we're in for a really exciting year, and if you are a potential student, I look forward to meeting with you. And I am I look forward to introducing you to the breadth of the organization. And yeah, I think that's it.
I think it's absolutely perfect. And Emilia, thank you so very much for joining us on our Espresso Live from the corner office. I'm really glad that you gave us this last hour. And in looking at the chat and the comments in the chat, I'm really having the sense of from all the participants today, from a high number of them, and how valuable this actually last hour has been for them. For once, some that have that are planning to be part of this cohort and signing up or have signed up, it others who were sitting on the fence, not 100% certain if they wanted to, and are taking the next step. And I'm sure that a lot of people who did not know much about Leadership Niagara, and you as an individual as well, are getting a better insight of that. So thank you for that. It's greatly appreciated. And I do wish Leadership Niagara a really, really interesting season starting at the end of this year. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks. And to all of our participants, thank you for being part of the Espresso Live series. If you ever wanted to hear from a certain individual from a certain corner office, please feel free to connect with us at any time at info@gncc.ca or mishka@gncc.ca. We love hearing from you and love bringing you the programming that matters to you. So thank you and have a great day.